we have this brand new segment called the Getting Put Over segment, where every week Ben and I are going to alternate and we're going to pick one wrestler. It could be past or current, and we're going to acknowledge it, talk about some of our favorite matches, some of our favorite segments, and, talk about the wrestler's career. And this week, I wanted to give Ben the honor of picking the first wrestler we're going to put over.
My homie, the Animal Batista. That's going to be fucking great, man. I'm really excited to talk about it.
So this week, we're going to be talking about the Animal Batista. This was, Ben's pick. Next week, I'll be, picking a wrestler that we're going to put over. But, with this, the Animal Batista, what was your favorite era of the Animal?
Oh, obviously, fucking between 05 and 06, dude. That was, most memorable. That's when he became Batista and, really fucking popped career-wise. Putting on the World Heavyweight title was probably the best thing for this dude's career at the time because he was hot over with the crowd. The fucking Evolution story was really wrapping up around this time, and that was a massive fucking stable that is still talked about to this time, it was really a time to be alive.
I feel like Evolution was the four horsemen.
The modern day
aggression era.
The modern day four horsemen with guidance from an actual member of the four horsemen. So it's that was just wrapping up, and obviously we saw how it culminated at WrestleMania 21, which was ironically enough one of my favorite matches. But if we're going to be talking about one of my favorite matches in this era that really stood out, it's actually one that's completely not talked about and gets really overlooked because I thought this was fucking sick as a kid. It was the the WWE Tag Team Championship match between Eminem, Batista, and Rey Mysterio, and they both had the double fucking animal. You were there?
Friday night, yep, it was on SmackDown on Thursday.
Yes, it was, and you were there at the event.
I was. That's where I got burnt by the Boogeyman.
Oh fuck! Okay, yeah, no, that's 100%. Yeah, that's yeah, that match is one of my favorites.
SmackDown Tag Team Champion.
Yes, that is actually one of my favorite matches of all time with Batista. Really?
Yeah.
In Springfield, Mass?
Yeah.
Where the fuck was I, bro? And it was televised?
It was televised. Not live, but it was televised. On Thursday, I believe the taping took place on Tuesday. And this was, I believe, a week before Armageddon.
In Springfield?
Yes.
What the fuck?
2005.
Yeah, but regardless of the fact,
I got burnt by the Boogeyman.
Shit was sick as fuck, bro. That was one of the most memorable matches for me because I was a huge Rey Mysterio fan at the time. He was on a hot streak because of everything going down. Eventually in 06, he ended up winning the World Heavyweight title. And that obviously caused very interesting concern considering, at WrestleMania 22, Dave Batista was already there backstage saying it didn't matter who won the fucking title because they were just holding it until he got back. Rey was one of his best friends at the time. So that obviously made an interesting thing upon his arrival. So yeah, man, one of the greatest of that era. Greatest. There's so much to talk about with him.
I feel like the Joey Mercury and Johnny Nitro match versus Rey and Batista don't get talked about much because at the time there was, reports going around with Molina and, Batista at the time. There was an affair going on. And I think that gets talked about a lot more than the match itself. But I really enjoyed that. That was a fun, dream match because obviously we were kids during the Ruthless Aggression era, and Batista and Rey Mysterio, they felt larger than life to us.
They were huge at the time,
They were superheroes to us. And
big over at the time.
It was so cool to see these guys hold the tag team championships.
And the storytelling back in the day, man, was just so fucking top notch. I miss when creative was that fucking clever, dude. It was just so goddamn good. They utilized everything to the right standpoint. It was just so good, and Batista was handled beautifully between the years of 04 and fucking, I want to say up to 08 maybe.
Probably 2008. I think when he had that heel turn on Rey Mysterio,
that's where it all really went downhill.
When he I wasn't a fan of heel Batista as much.
I wasn't either. I think he was a way better babyface. 100%.
Like the
He was like a
crybaby Batista in 2010 that quit. I don't know. I just wasn't a fan of that
It
run.
pissed me off so much, bro. It pissed me off. Like it really like tarnished who he was, and it just I don't know. I feel like
And I
even
feel
to
like in
this
the
day, I
wrestling
don't know if
community, man, people don't talk about that
yeah, and I feel
because they
like
want to remember the good with
yeah, and I feel
Batista.
like he never even to this day really recovered from that. And that's unfortunate because I feel like that
I
was
think he
like a
did. I
momentum killer.
think the way he went out in that final match with Triple H was fantastic.
I
The
feel
way
like it
that
would have been
they
great
built
had
that.
he not almost fucking tripped and knocked on his face when he got into the fucking ring.
Oh, come on,
Yeah, I think
man.
that's the only fucking thing. It was those nerves that were getting him, bro.
Yeah, but
It's that
still,
and
that was such a cool moment, man.
him almost face planting. That
Well, the
was a
whole
cool
match
moment.
itself was very solid.
No, it was dope. It was a solid match, but at the same time, man, I mean, it just
And the
there's
way they
so
did it
much to
too,
talk
like
about.
with Ric Flair's, celebration, having,
Mhm.
Batista attack him at the end. And that's how they built the Triple H versus Batista match. And then Batista said, "This is my final match." And, he wanted to go against him. Loved it, man. And that's like where, I gotta, get into this with Batista and put him over. Got to go back to 2005. I love the way that they did this for WrestleMania 21. Just like John Cena and JBL, they created two big superstars at WrestleMania 21, and it
Oh
all
yeah.
worked out perfect. And I think, with Batista winning the Royal Rumble, and then, Triple H trying to convince him, to go after JBL, and then that, famous contract signing there, he chose, Triple H, power bombed him through the table. The fans loved it. And then, he got that big moment at WrestleMania. I loved, Batista versus Triple H. Even the Hell in the Cell match that took place at Vengeance. That was one of my favorite Triple H Batista matches.
And we even
And
got
I
some
think,
color in that match too.
man, and I don't know, I just
We
think that
got
my favorite
color.
work when it comes to the animal was always with Triple H. They
Oh
just had
yeah.
great chemistry.
Absolutely,
And
because
it
that dude
made
was basically
sense
mentored.
that, Batista would begin his career. Well, let's not talk about Reverend and Devon.
Oh yeah,
Triple
yeah,
H
when he was
with
no.
Evolution.
Yeah.
That's when, he got his big break in the business.
Oh yeah.
And I can't believe that Mark Jindrak was supposed to be the one in
Yeah, I
Evolution
saw the
and not
vignettes,
Batista.
yeah.
That's crazy, especially doing like vignettes without Batista in there.
And it was Mark Jindrak, yeah. It was weird. It was really fucking weird.
Yeah. And that's the thing, like, for, and I love that, like, he started his career when he got his big break with Triple H in Evolution, and he ended his career with Triple H. And I
Yeah,
think it was just such a cool full circle moment.
it was.
And in this getting put over segment, I will not talk about 2014 when they tried bringing him back and took Daniel Bryan's moment and had him win the Royal Rumble. We'll try to like not acknowledge that or talk about that because we're trying to put Batista over here.
Yeah, I got you.
All right, but now as a kid with Batista, and I think this is the best way to end this off. What was one of your defining moments of
For
Batista? Like something that really hit you at the
that really
time.
hit me. Uh I can tell you two things.
All right.
One, obviously his spontaneous floor smack with John Cena at the Royal Rumble 2005, because that was an infamous moment. That wasn't even planned.
Oh, and
So
Vince teared his
tore
quad.
both of his quads getting into the fucking ring. Yeah,
And he
fucking
couldn't get up and
dumbass.
he's just
Only Vince McMahon, bro. But the fact that he just played it off and just sat there and nobody questioned it was nuts. Just sitting there, just looking at for the ground down, torn both quads. The other one, his return after he fucking got his arm surgery when he got smashed up against the cage by Mark Henry and got injured and he had to forfeit the World Heavyweight title. When he fucking returned and just beat the fuck out of Mark Henry was fucking awesome. Like that was one of the best countdown returns, period. Like they had like week by week, it's like, oh, he returns in XY days, and then it was exciting seeing him come
Dude,
back
the
because he was
video
in great
packages back
shape.
in the day, they were so simple and it worked.
Unfucking match. And I remember waiting every fucking day counting down to his return date, and I was hyped as fuck, bro. Super hyped, and it delivered. It delivered. And I remember it ended SmackDown that night, and I was hyped. And yeah, that was definitely two of my most like memorable moments because I remember being super fucking excited in real time, and it gave me that wrestling goosebumps that we all love.
So I'm going to share my two. The first one has got to be the dream match that we got at SummerSlam. I think it was 2008. Batista versus John Cena. That
Yeah.
was such a cool moment because obviously these two, won the world championships at WrestleMania 21. They were the face of the Ruthless Aggression era, in my opinion.
They were.
And it just felt like a dream match. And I think the way that they executed it, it was perfect. Besides, the injury that John Cena sustained in that match. But my second defining moment for Batista that I really liked was his match with The Undertaker at WrestleMania 23. That was such a fun match between the two. And I think that that's where Undertaker started to put on, those classics at WrestleMania. Because that's when, like, The Undertaker kind of, because throughout his career, he even, said this when, I went to his Dead Man show in Boston, which unfortunately I couldn't record any of that because they had our phones in lockdown.
Yeah.
But he had to work a slower pace in his career because he was playing the Dead Man. And around the time when, he became American Badass, he picked up the pace of his matches. And then when he first came back as the Dead Man, he went back to the slow pace. But then he started to, pretty much bring both worlds together. And he got very comfortable in the ring, and he was just putting on 5 stars at every WrestleMania. So I got to say, like, I really enjoyed that for Batista. Because at that time, I believed he was going to be the one to beat The Undertaker's streak.
Yeah. What ifs, man?
It's the biggest what ifs. But Batista's had 2 entrance theme songs throughout his time.
Saliva. And then the
I
one that
Walk Alone, man.
Yep.
Yeah.
That was my favorite. That was literally my favorite, dude. I remember I remember playing that song back to back, and then right when the part came, just
dude, when he did that with the pyros, that was
hell
so
yeah,
cool.
Dude. Batista's entrance was one of the most creative entrances of all time. Like it was like rock worthy. Like it felt huge, bro. Like every entrance that he was a part of that he came out to, the pyro, the fucking, even when he got out to the ring, threw up his arms and then did the little fucking shit with his like fucking booby dance shit that he did. Fucking epic, bro.
And then
like,
doing the Ultimate Warrior thing on the ropes too.
That's what I'm saying.
That was
like
cool.
The dude is fucking charismatic, man, and Batista is one of the best to do it. 100%. He was, and what is so impressive, and this will definitely end it off. What is so impressive about this whole thing is that even collectively, his WWE career really realistically wasn't that long, but he accomplished a lot during it and made some memorable fucking moments. So I will say, man, Batista's
Hall
one
of
of the
Fame
best.
career.
Exactly, and I'm stoked for him to be in the Hall of Fame, and I'm stoked that he was the first person we got to talk about in this whole getting put over segment.
That's right. And next week, I get to choose the next wrestler.
Yeah,
and I think I'm going to go with an underrated one. So definitely stay
shit.
tuned for next week's Getting Put Over segment.